Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new here. For those of you who don't know, my name is Hiba, and here on my channel I talk about recent missing person cases. If you're into that type of content, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. I just reached 600 subscribers and I want to thank you guys so much. I know I have a small channel compared to other creators, but I've had so many family members just reach out to me and be so appreciative and thankful, and that's just thanks to you guys for sharing their loved ones' stories and listening to them. So just thank you so much. With that being said, let's just go ahead and get into today's case. Today I want to talk about Samuel Martinez. Samuel is a 23-year-old man from Nebraska. On May 10th, Samuel flew out to the Hawaiian island of Kauai. According to travel records, Samuel did arrive on the island and was able to bypass the 10-day quarantine rule because of a pre-travel test that he did. Samuel planned to spend the majority of his time on the island hiking and camping, and he planned to go to various spots. He acquired 8 camping permits for various sites, and he had an itinerary, which I will put up on the screen here just so you have an overview of what he planned to do. Samuel was expected to return back to Nebraska on May 25th, but he never made it home. After not being able to reach him, his family reported him as missing to the Lincoln Police Department, who contacted the Kauai Police Department on May 27th for assistance. After the Kauai Police Department was notified, an investigation on the island commenced. We have very limited information here. The Kauai Police Department was just notified 3 days ago, but like I mentioned earlier, it is confirmed that Samuel did arrive on the island on May 10th. We also know that according to Samuel's family, Samuel received a ride to a grocery store on the west side near the airport from an unknown person. The family last had contact with Samuel 2 days after he arrived on the island on May 12th. And before we continue, I just want to apologize in advance if I mispronounce any of these names. Samuel's last known location was in Waimea on May 13th. If you recall, I mentioned that Samuel had an itinerary, but according to his plan, this wasn't where Samuel was supposed to be on the 13th. He was actually supposed to be at the Kauai State Park. Kauai State Park and Waimea are approximately 20 miles apart, or a 40-minute drive, and I believe it's possible that Samuel stopped in Waimea on his way to Kauai. It actually is technically on the way. I will insert a map here just so you have an idea. In fact, he might have had no option but to actually stop in Waimea. According to investigators, Samuel did not rent a car while he was on the island, and I looked into the transportation methods to get from the Lihue airport, which is where Samuel arrived, to get to the Kauai State Park, and there doesn't seem to be a bus or train that goes there. So you would either have to take a taxi or drive there yourself, and we know that he did not rent a car. So if he didn't want to take a taxi all the way to Kauai State Park, there were direct stops to Waimea. So he could have opted to stop in Waimea and then take a taxi from Waimea to Kauai State Park because it was only half an hour away. So it's possible that Waimea was a necessary stop to get to Kauai State Park since there wasn't a direct bus to Kauai, or Samuel may have not been aware of this and he might have just opted to go to Waimea instead. However, even if there was this slight alteration in his itinerary early on, why is he missing? Whether he was in Waimea or in Kauai State Park, Samuel planned to go hiking. Like I mentioned, he purchased 8 camping permits, so seeing if he checked into any of these campgrounds and when should give us some more insight into what he did and when. I think the biggest theory that most people will jump to here is that Samuel injured himself or that he fell at some point during his trip. However, it's important to remember that Samuel planned this whole trip around hiking, and that leads me to believe that he's an avid, experienced hiker and that he knows what he's doing. And obviously that doesn't mean that it's impossible for him to fall. I know that experienced hikers fall all the time and unfortunate things happen. However, I just want to say that it's something to keep in mind. Also, most of the trails are decently populated, so if he had fallen, someone might have heard something or seen him. I do think it's possible that Samuel injured himself in some way, potentially twisting his ankle or something, leaving him unable to walk. But again, if he was on the main, more touristy trails, someone would have likely discovered him by now. However, if he fell later in his trip, it's possible that he is somewhere injured and he's waiting for help to come. I also think there's another possibility, and that is that Samuel is willingly extending his stay on the island. According to local authorities, Samuel may have underestimated the time that it would take him to complete everything on his itinerary. He may be out there exploring, just hiking and camping, and just without cell phone service. A lot of locals looked at his itinerary and verified that there is not cell phone service in some of those places. Like I mentioned, it's only been 3 days since authorities on on the island were notified that Samuel was missing and began their search for him. I truly hope Samuel is found safe and sound and that he's out there doing what he loves to do and what he set out to do. A lot of people who live on islands say that once you get a taste of the island life, you no longer want to leave. So hopefully he is out there and he has just extended his stay. Samuel is 6 feet tall and weighs approximately 180 pounds. He has brown hair and green eyes. I will have pictures of him at the end as always, including pictures from the trip. If you have any information about his whereabouts, the number for you to call will be down in the description below, along with all my sources as always. But that's all I have for this case. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one.